Don in London, good morning. It's December the 1st, 2008, and the time is just after 10:30 in the morning. My video is all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My substance, alcohol, my behaviour, workaholic, and trying to be perfect and never perfect by any stretch of the imagination. But you know, we have ambitions, and I think I was taught ambitions all my life, and society likes a winner and doesn't really treat losers quite the same way. So second was never good enough, and second rate didn't appeal either. I don't think my life has actually been second rate in any sense or form. It was lived at extremes of either highs or lows for quite a long time, and these days all I'm trying to find is a middle path where we can actually get to some place of contentment and acceptance about how to live. And I learned how to live a hard road when I was young, and how to fend for myself, and how to develop all sorts of coping strategies to deal with life, relationships, work, anything you could name. I had a coping strategy for it, and the best one, which worked for many a year, was to take the edge off with a drink, alcohol. And of course, if we become dependent on taking the edge off, we become dependent on the item we use to take the edge off, and in my case, drink really got me to the point of dependency and then into the addiction of alcoholism. So where am I now? I'm just on the road of recovery from being an addict to either substance or behaviour. Because as the substance, alcohol, took me over, then my behaviour became more and more extreme, trying to cover up maybe, trying to be the person that people wanted me to be, trying to just be myself. And the trouble is, if we take the edge off for so long, we just don't know who we are, what we are, except maybe a drinking machine. And our emotions are all over the place. We still have emotions, a lot of them suppressed, and then a lot of them coming out in great big ugly masses which are impossible to deal with for ourselves and probably for other people too. So what keeps me sober these days? Well, very simply, being in a fellowship, and that fellowship is AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. And if you'd asked me 10 years ago, would I go to Alcoholics Anonymous? Only to please other people, but not for me. I just thought it was a joke. Anyway, what have I learned over the last few years? And it's not 10 years since I've had my last drink, it's only a few. I'll share the preamble, then you get an idea. And this is the preamble shared at the beginning of every meeting of AA I've ever been to, unless we forget, of course. And it goes like this. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution. It does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. And in that final sentence where it says, our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety, is really what we are about. So, what are we? A fellowship. People turn up on a daily basis, and we work within one day at a time it's called, being sober. And when we go to a meeting of AA, we will encounter people who are maybe a day of sober time. Nothing like some of the people I meet with 30, 40 years of sobriety, not drinking on a daily basis for up to 40 years. Now that's something special, or is it? It's nothing special if you've got used to doing it, I guess. But when addicted or dependent, our minds always turn to taking the edge off. Either it could be for success and celebration, or it could be for absolute sadness and desolation. And the trouble is, once we become an addict, we get more of the sadness and desolation than we ever get of the highs and joys of what we thought alcohol was there to do. So the AA fellowship there is for one purpose only. That's my local police station, heading off probably to help somebody who's in some sort of trouble. Probably an alcoholic, not in recovery. Anyway, so AA has 12 steps and 12 traditions. And on this little card, the steps of AA, the traditions of AA. And the steps are really there for us to make changes to our attitudes. And some people say AA stands for altered attitudes. And they're are quite demanding actually, because it's an ask or a prerequisite that if we use the steps of change, we will change into being ordinary human beings. And that's the premise really, or all of it. We want to be ordinary. And what I've learned is that ordinary is quite extraordinary, because without a drink inside us, and being able to see life as is, and don't forget we have been tormented and tortured into a mental illness, or a disease as some people call it, and until it's recognised as a disease by the person who's got it, they are still trying to run normally on self-will. And the trouble with self-will is it will kill us. Self-will and self-obsession mean that we have to put ourselves in a straitjacket in order to stop doing something which is harmful. And the more energy we pour into doing that, stopping that harmful behaviour, the more energy we are not able to use in just being ordinary people. So the gift of AA really is saying, with a set of altered attitudes and changes in how we live, we get to be ordinary people, no longer obsessed or selfish, or undermining everybody around us by our absence or our bad behaviour. So 12 months in a year, 12 steps of AA. And in the literature of the fellowship we have books like this which cover each month some aspect of each step. So I'm just going to say them very gently and slowly so that people know what they are. If you're not already in AA, but you probably are, but why not have a reminder? If you've been in for a while, you know these backwards and forwards. So step 1, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood it. 4, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves, admitted to God, to ourselves and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. I think somebody's done something wrong. Anyway, carrying on. Step 6, we were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. 7, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. Step 10, continued to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. Step 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for his knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry that out. And 12, having had a spiritual awakening as the result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. And for those who, like me, don't understand God, I didn't come into this world with an understanding of God, and maybe I might come out of this world with a better understanding of God. But the bit in between, which is about life experience, for me, any story which includes the word God, or any factual account which includes the word God, is the God of my understanding or your understanding. We don't have to adopt a God of other people's understanding. So I'm a great believer in nature and providence, and that the universe is a very big place, and I'm a very small part of it. I'm not running the whole show. The world doesn't revolve around me, nor does it revolve around religion, and AA is not really a religious program, although the word God is there, because a lot of people do believe in God. And for me, God represents good conscience, and for me, as Gandhi said, God represents truth, or God is truth, and God is love. And good conscience works through people. So if we are able to access our good conscience via these 12 steps and make life work one day at a time, and be a part of life, just simply a part of life, not the chief critic, just the person who is part of it, and able to be ourselves and learn how to be with other people in a safe, sober way, the joys of recovery come true. The promises that life will get better come true. So my gentle message is, regardless of your belief, if you can gird up your loins and get a bit of courage, faith and confidence to try live ordinary life like ordinary people, the extraordinary result is, I guess, acceptance and some joy as life affords.